So before we do that, I'm very, very happy to welcome one of my favorite visionary artists, Mr. Jean-Michel Jarre, former president of CISAC.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
So this afternoon has shown, oh yes, we have decided to speak in English. So if I have any trouble, Jean-Michel will translate. So this afternoon has shown to what point the subject of the creation is at the heart of the fundamental point for the future of our society. It's a political subject because, as it has been just said by Emma, it touched the innovation, sovereignty, democracy, and the social link that is between all the consumer, all the people, all the humans around the world. So I would like to come back on the different topics we share today with you, Jean-Michel. And for the first topic, of course, innovation. You were born with innovation, I think so. We had a lot of explanation, and especially during the panel with some of your colleague creators this morning. And of course, we have all understood, and we all keep repeating that innovation and creation has always been able to live together. And so, from the first phonograph to the streaming, the first instrument to the synthesizer, the partition to the composition software, to each step, you've been able, creators, to use the evolution of technology to create differently. The problematic, I think you used to say, is not the tool itself, but how we use it. I was really, really surprised when, during the last, or the unique, summit of AI organized by our President Emmanuel Macron last year, all the technology company, all the AI company came on stage and said, we haven't done anything wrong. We just use what was publicly available. And this is where there is a big misunderstanding. Publicly available does not mean free of rights. That's why we are today fighting to get a law in France. We already talked about that, about the presumption of training by all these companies of AI. Jean-Michel, if there is one artist in the world that is the incarnation of technology, innovation, and creation, it's you. You've been one of the first to think about the way AI can feed creativity. But as Björn Ulvaeus, that now is the chairman of CISAC, has explained, you're also a composer that is totally involved in the respect of the creator's rights, and you just want to see an AI that respects our value. So tell me, do you think that it means some things to fight to respect our rights in that new area, and what is the best way to do it?
Yes, of course, when I was president of CISAC, I used to say, and I'm sure that we all remember that. I mean, I used to say that in a smartphone, the smart part is us. I mean that without our content, it would be just a piece of hardware, of a $50 piece of hardware. For AI, it's the same. Human creativity is the foundation of AI. Without our content, AI algorithm would harvest the words of the dictionary. So, of course, in this new digital cake, that the 3.0 digital cake that all these AI companies are representing, we, of course, need and we deserve to have a part of this digital cake, not only as suppliers, but as partners. And this is as simple as that. And we have a responsibility in France and in Europe because we always been pioneers in terms of intellectual property and protecting authors, and everything we do has a domino effect. This is the reason why we can be quite controversial at the beginning or the emergence of a new technology. I mean, technology always dictated styles and not the reverse. It's because we invented the violin that Vivaldi existed, because we invented the camera that we have Tarantino, Jean-Luc Godard, or Christopher Nolan, or many others. And it's because we invented electricity that we have Jimi Hendrix or Bad Bunny. So we are depending on technology. Technology is also a tool for the democratization, and AI is, of course, a fantastic tool, fantastic opportunity. We should consider AI as a threat. But at the same time, we should not, all the tech people and the world of politics and politicians should not consider that we are also a break, or we are conservative vis-à-vis progress and the future. I mean, we should never forget that regulations and rules are actually an access to freedom. It's not weakening freedom, it's exactly the reverse. It's because, for instance, we have a driving license that we can drive freely on the roads and not the reverse. So today, we know that AI is the Wild West, and we shouldn't actually look in terms of Wild West only to the West, but also to the East. It could be also a Wild East, if I can say so. And so this is very important that CISAC and all the authorized companies such as SACEM being the main one, I mean, we should stand for action together. We should never forget that what makes a country or a civilization wealthy is culture. So culture is not weakening profits. It's also a very good positive point for also helping technology to be friendly, to be used in a positive way for the evolution and the improvement of human beings.
That's a very good point, and but I just want to get your feeling, because you've saw all this transformation of our business and ecosystem, and so are you confident in the fact that we will be able to get license with the AI platforms, and then to be able to have this share of revenue and the partnership?
I'm quite positive, because I think that I mean, all these young guys, I mean, developing monsters, which are these algorithms, are not against us, are not against artists, are not against music or movies or books or whatever. Even if they're not necessarily reading a lot, they are all potential friends, and we should not, I think, collectively creating a kind of being considered as enemies or considering them as enemies. I think we have, and of course, CISAC is and SACEM and all the authors' rights companies in the world should create bridges. We should create bridges with them individually, and not necessarily through politics, but I mean through individuals. Because I met a lot of the founders of tech and AI companies, and individually they can understand what's going on. Actually, we know that if you take a company such as Suno, we were just talking about this a few minutes ago. You have deals going on between majors and this type of algorithm. In my opinion, as publishers and authors, in a sense, the threat is not coming so much from the AI companies, but also threat is maybe a strong word. But this kind of competition you always had between majors and the idea of copyrights and the idea of authors' rights. As we know, these are two different concepts. And people in the world of copyrights are, and the US especially, are for a kind of buyout type of philosophy. And we know that it's not at all fitting the philosophy of intellectual property. So it's there where we have in the next few months, few weeks actually, to create some system to get the AI companies to understand the way we work. And I would like to congratulate actually SACEM and Cécile and her team about the fact that this idea to propose to the French government the fact to, as you know, to reverse the proof of what they are of what these companies are harvesting seems to be a very clever way. It's something which is not. I think it's very original. It's very unusual, and this is the reason why I'm quite convinced that it should work. And we just have to pass the message and not being only alone in France and in Europe, and this is the purpose of CISAC. I mean, to try to create to speak about one voice. When I was president of CISAC, I noticed that when you're traveling all over the world, we all, as artists and as producers and as composers and painters and writers, thinking the same thing, but we are not communicating enough between us. And I think is one of the great advantage of CISAC is actually to be able to actually reinforce these strings and these links between the different sectors of creativity. This is the reason why actually I always fought for the second C of CISAC, should be creators and not only composers.
The fact is that I think that, the role of CISAC is instrumental in a sense that all these global players are always telling the politician that it's impossible to deal with us because we are so many, we have so many different rules. And so this is an argument for them to tell the politician that it's impossible to get license. And I think that in a sense we managed to fix that in the digital environment, especially with all the re-aggregation repertoire, partnership, and I think that we are still in the digital environment with AI, and that might be the case also that some of us, we are together and we will have a stronger position in front of this big giant. The second point that we have I talk about today, of course, is this fundamental link between creation and a society that is open and unified, a kind of democratic, perfect solution. And yes, music, culture in general, it's not only, comment on dit, divertissement? Entertainment, sorry, or an industry, but it's also what a different side from pure AI. It's an emotion, it's a link. So, you know, sometimes I'm happy to say that we have a liability, all of us, is to bring culture till what I call the last kilometer, you know.
Could be even the first kilometer.
Yeah, the first to the last. That's why it's so important to have a vibrant culture in all the countries, in all the territories. So you, Jean-Michel, that has always been able to lead a universal vision of art, of music, you who act as an ambassador of UNESCO, very, very engaged for diversity and access to culture. How do you analyze the link between creation and democracy today?
Actually, creation and democracy, I mean, it's almost, I would say in a sense, it goes with, they are interdependent, really. I mean, you can have access to the idea of democracy through education and through creation. It's one of the dogma and the concern of UNESCO, for instance. Is the reason why that I love this organization so much, because they are this one of the rare, seldom organization being able to think about what's going to happen in the next 20 or 30 years and not being stuck by the next election or by the next. Having a short vision. But I would say that actually, creation, as I said, is also interdependent with technology, and again, technology and democracy are also linked. If you take AI, for instance, AI is a fantastic tool potentially for the democratization. Of course, like Industrial Revolution, is going to shake our societies and our generation. But at the same time, it's also going to give tools to create for lots of people. Tomorrow, you'll be able to, in lots of emerging countries, or even in any countries, for young creators to be able to create movies, to create new forms of arts, because technology is always giving the possibility to any kind of generation after generation, to create new genres. The new music, the new hip hop, the new rock and roll, the new techno of tomorrow will be, of course, generated by AI tools, and we should not be afraid of that. And also, like at the beginning of internet, when suddenly some musicians were able to compose, to produce, even to distribute their music from their living room. It doesn't mean that it's going to be it's a danger because music is going to be worse or better. I think the next Miles Davis, the next Bad Bunny, next Billie Eilish has nothing to be afraid of. I think that, and this is the reason why democracy and creation, as long as it also has a link with technology and tools we are using, are of course creating and providing and generating improvements. And we should not be aware. It's quite just one word. In my life, I've been always very often surprised by the fact that, ironically, the sector of music and the sector of music are probably more conservative than in other sectors of society. We are on our own lane and always being afraid of disruptive tools. And I think we need, as creators, what makes our creation original and unique is actually accidents, is the fact that we are all thieves. I'm stealing everything I look at, everything I watch, everything I read, everything I listen. And then what's interesting is also to hijack technology. Today, if we are talking about AI and democratization of AI, I think in 10 years from now, we'll probably consider that the 2020s were a golden age for AI, because AI is like the beginning of silent movies or black and white. It's full of glitches, accidents, limitations, and we can see that it's still, as we said, on the CISAC or authors' rights point of view, still everything has to be organized. But at the same time, it's also a very good moment to question ourselves about these new tools. How can we use it? How can we pass the relay to young generations and to, of course, implement with these new tools the fact that first of all, these tools, as you said, Cécile, are neutral, is the way we use it, which matters, and not forgetting that piracy was existing before electricity and will exist after AI.
Yeah. Okay, so just to conclude, because Emmanuel Legrand is super upset, as usual.
As usual.
You're always upset, actually, because everybody is late. No, I just would like to conclude on something. First of all, I don't see you as a thief, and I don't agree with you, despite the fact that I love you, because I think that you're talking about inspiration. We're not talking about inspiration when suddenly there is aspiration of billions of works, and then output by billions for commercial purposes. I mean, the difference between inspiration for a creator and what some AI are currently doing for me is a bit different. But what is really important for me is that you show a very strong positive signal about the fact that, yes, you are optimistic about the fact that the way we will use the tool with the time, and maybe in 10 years or 15 years, will show that finally human beings will be preserved, creation will be preserved. The only thing that we haven't yet really been able to discuss because of Emmanuel Legrand is how we fix the fact that today there is millions of new tracks and of output coming into the platform with the deletion, and how do you allow the consumer to find the human creation amongst those millions of content? And I think that shows that we must have another dialogue today, to do tomorrow, or another day, you and me, baby.
We rehearsed this before, so it was allowing, what I said was allowing Cécile to make a brilliant conclusion. Thank you very much.